chance to seal it. It's done. It's Chiedozie Ogbene. Rotherham United's pathway back to the Championship is opening up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast and another win. 2 home wins on the bounce. This time a 3-1 victory to rudderless and limpless and any other word you can find to describe QPR at the minute, unfortunately, for them. 8 points clear of the relegation zone, up to 18th and maybe a net 17th, depending on Reading's point deduction. 40 points. It's just unheard of for this crazy, daft football club. Plenty to cover from a 3-1 victory, and we will do so over the next hour or so. To start with, it's just me and Mick. How are you doing, Mick?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good, thank you. I'm afraid that people are going to be very disappointed just having to listen to me moan all the time, aren't they? But I'm sure somebody will join us at some stage. Yeah,
hopefully Danny will be with us shortly, and Kev should be with us about half an hour into the show. So it won't just be our voices you have to put up with for the next hour or so. Doing Carwood's with us. Thank you. It says, good evening, you guys. What a performance. All positives. No Mick rant. There might be a Mick rant. John Hens, hello everybody. Doesn't a win just boost your whole weekend? Yeah, it does. Paramount UK says, good evening, Mr. Bond. Sarah Ogden's with us. Phil Rawlinson, Scott Grundy, Bazza, Jamie, Josh Hinchcliffe, loads of people with us. Carl Scott says, evening everybody except Darren Bond. Yeah. Shelley says 8-point gap, as Del Boy says, lovely jubbly. Correct. Loads of people with us at the moment. Michael Clarnell says, good evening, and he got the score prediction correct on the Thursday podcast. Thank you. Very well done. So we should also give shout out to Simon Thorne, who we saw walking to the ground, who told us it would be 3-1 as well. So very well done. Jalen Simpson's with us, Russ is with us, Harvey Kelwick, Sean Green, Tobias is with us as well, and Chris Tedder as well. Thank you all for being with us. We'll go into obviously the technicals of it and the more detail of it later on, Mick. But I suppose Jalen Simpson asked the question: do you believe we are surviving yet? Game by game, point by point, we're getting closer. How positive are you on the overall survival picture?
It's in our own hands, isn't it? I mean, I guess it always has been in our own hands. But as we sit now, we've given ourselves an unbelievable opportunity to stay in this division and play Championship football next season. Honestly, I think we've done enough. I think we will do enough to stay up. What else can I say? Yeah, we have. We're staying up. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I did a research earlier, and 45 points is the average. There have been instances. I think Peterborough hold the record for going down on 54 points. I can't. If you look at the bottom 3 now, that's like 50. It's 14 extra points, 13 extra points from where they are at the minute. There's more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, it's a lot because it's more than that. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
almost 23 points, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, exactly 23 points. So yeah. So and that with some of them down there have got 15 games. Most have got 13 games. Some have got 12. So one of them could go ridiculous. One of them. The other ones I just can't see. With the position we're in, Mick, we're 18th. There's 6 teams below us. It would require 4 of those teams, at least 4 of those teams, to have better finishers to the season than us. I just feel like that's unlikely, really unlikely.
Yeah, I do. And the reality is, if we can hit that magic 50 points, I think that's going to be enough. And certainly the bottom 3 at the moment are going to have to accumulate 18 or 19 points out of 11 games. And that's more than half of what they've accumulated so far this season. You know, it's a massive ask, and we know it's a massive ask because we've been there on too many occasions, unfortunately. So we've given ourselves every possible chance now, haven't we? And we've got 3 more games coming up here, each of which are eminently winnable.
Yeah, they are. 10 points for certainty. Probably only need 6. Probably only need 6 in the end. But I think we'll still probably get more than that.
Yeah.
In the end. Sam Henson says QPR were dreadful. Wish we could play them every week. Yeah, let's just touch on QPR before we sort of delve into how good we were. They had moments of quality. I mean, they were few and far between, to be honest with you. Victor had to pull off a really, really good save in the first half. But every time they did something good, I always felt like it was just us being sloppy and us being a little bit careless and leaving a bit too much space here and there. For them, they're lucky that the bottom 3 are as bad as they have been because they are dreadful.
Yeah, I mean they're bang out of form, aren't they? And you're absolutely right. I mean, you look back at the Swansea game, mistake from us that cost us a goal. You look back at the Sunderland game, mistake for us that cost us the goal. It wasn't necessarily excellent football from the opposition. It was us that allowed them that time and space to score. So and again, obviously, we gave away the penalty on Saturday. So we are our own worst enemies in that respect. However, it's another game where we've been the better side, probably for the whole of the game. But we did this last time when we were up here. We were the better side for good parts of the majority of games, probably during the season. But we never took our chances, and now we are. When I say taking our chances to win games, so it's looking very positive at the moment. But there is a caveat to that from my point of view. I think there's still a long way to go to see this team achieving the potential that it's got. I think there are still too many mistakes. We're still not there at the moment in terms of anywhere being close to a finished product. Matt Taylor's still got a huge amount of work to do. However, the quality within the squad is exceptional. So he's working with some proper tools, isn't it? So it's now down to him to prove his ability. Yeah,
it is absolutely. Maybe talk about him a little bit later on when we've got a full house. Frank Miller says there's a tough looking April coming up, so these next fixtures are really important. Don't count your chickens just yet, however buoyant we may feel. Yeah, absolutely. We can't get too well. I suppose as fans we can, but I'm sure Matt Taylor and the group are not because they seem basically pretty level-headed. They seem so.
I think what you do, you look at it and think we've got 11 games to go, and we realistically probably need 8 or 9 points, 10 at a maximum, really, to get ourselves safe. Surely we can cobble 9 points together from 11 games.
12,
as fans, you would expect that. Even if we were at the bottom, you'd probably still expect to get 9 points out of your last 11 games there, give or take. I'm not getting ahead of myself by any stretch because, like I said, there's a lot of work to be done. But we put ourselves in a fabulous position.
Over the last 10 games, we have the best record of the bottom 7. Anybody in the bottom 7 that's got a better record. If you go to the last 6, Cardiff do have a better record. But that's since their manager took over. And to be fair to Cardiff, they're pulling away from the relegation zone as well. Like, credit where credit's due. I thought Cardiff would sink into that relegation zone quite quickly, but they deserve a fair amount of credit to keep themselves where they are, really. We should point out that we took us above QPR, took us above Birmingham. When Reading's point deduction gets confirmed, it will have taken us above Reading, I think, as well. So, pretty good Saturday afternoon. Pretty good. Michael Connell says, "I hope this doesn't happen. But if we lose a game, we drop our heads. Yeah, we do. But we'll come on to that later. To be honest with you, let's talk about the main man from yesterday. No, he wasn't the main man, but he scored the goals. Jordan Hugill with his first 2 goals for the club. The first goal was the best of the 4 goals of the game. Obviously, 2 of them were penalties as well. But this was just an all-round superb goal. You can either pick out Tariq Fosu's ball out to Chio, which was superb. You can look up Chio's pullback, which most players wouldn't have done. Most fans probably didn't see. And you can pick up Jordan Hugill's striker's movement to pull back from the defenders, to give himself acres and acres of space to just take his time and calmly put the ball in. I mean, which one deserves most credit, mate? Because it was a superb goal.
Yeah, it was. I mean, ultimately, the ball from Tariq Fosu was just sublime. It was. I mean, he's picked it up, turned, lifted his head up, and just put it on a plate for Chio. It's an absolute peach of a delivery. Probably the worst part about it was Chio's first touch, which came off his knee and just ran away in front of him. But he needn't have worried because the defender. I don't think defenders realised yet what's happened. They were that slow. And like you say, Hugill's movement is fabulous. It's excellent. Although I suppose you could argue it's also schoolboy defending as well. But he's found his place and he's slotted it away as cool as you like, can't he? Excellent goal, a really, really well worked goal. So yeah. I can't pick which part, just the fact probably that he's broke his duck.
Yeah, that must be such a live. I thought we talked to a striker, but I might have been Alfie. I can't remember about going good games without scoring, and then we've seen it with the very best in the world, where you go on a run without scoring goals, and you can see it can get a bit heavy. In fairness to Hugill, the credit I would give him is he never seemed like it got that going down. His performances have been pretty consistent since he came in the door. And I think yesterday his overall game was as good as it's been. He's just having a couple of goals.
Yeah, I mean, he's never really had the opportunities, has he?
No.
Before yesterday. We've never really created anything for him. But he's still nevertheless done a job of creating havoc in the opposition defence. He must be... He's one of those players that if your team's playing against him, you absolutely can't stand him. Because he's everywhere. He's causing all sorts of problems. He's getting in defenders' heads. He's tugging, he's pulling, he's pushing. He's getting tugged, pulled, and pushed just as much, probably more. But that's maybe me looking through my red and white glasses. But yeah, he's a hell of a signing. He's a hell of a signing. He's a bit like Michael Smith on steroids, isn't he?
Well, Shelley in the comments has put early days, but is Hugill better than the striker who went down the road? It probably is, Mick. It's Shelley's right. It's very, very early days, and we saw what Michael Smith could do. But I felt like in the Championship, for Michael Smith to have a good game, he had to play at his very best. He had to be at his pinnacle to have a good game in the Championship. Whereas Hugill, this just seems to be, he looks comfortable. He doesn't look like he's having the game of his life or yesterday. I think he's probably got another level, to be honest with you. Yeah. And I think that's the difference. He just looks so comfortable at this level.
I think he has got another level, and I think that's absolutely key. With the best will in the world and the greatest respect to Smudge, I don't think he did. I think he kind of peaked when he was with us. I've no idea what he's doing down the road. I don't really care, to be honest. But I think he peaked with us, and he struggled in the Championship. He didn't have that nasty streak, did he?
No.
Or that. It's not necessarily a nasty streak, but I think Jordan Hugill absolutely loves getting in people's faces and winding them up, doesn't he? He's right up his street, that. And I love that. I'm a massive wind-up merchant myself, so I can well and truly, sort of relate to it. But
this is a tenacity.
Yeah, that's a good way of. That's a nice way of putting it. Yeah, I describe it slightly differently, but we can't use that word on here. But yeah, tenacity, tenacious. That's what he is. Yeah,
he is. Yeah, Carl Scott, and I think this is key as well. Carl Scott says Hugill's getting better and better the fitter he gets. And I think that's key. You can tell he's getting. He played almost all the game yesterday. I think that's the most minutes he's played in one game as well. Yeah, which is key when we've got other players falling left, right, and centre. It's really key that we're keeping those kind of him fit, which is massive, really. And he was captain as well. I think he said it was the first time his career has been captain. Yeah. That brings us on to a negative, Mick. Ollie Rathbone and Lee Peltier were both out. That's below Matt Taylor says he doesn't know if they're going to be fit for the next weekend. The quote is on the lines of, if they couldn't deal with a 3-day rest from Swansea to this one, how are they going to deal with next week? Bearing in mind it's 3-game week, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, sorry. That's a blow. And to be fair to Peltier, they're both as big a blow as each other because they've both been superb recently.
Yeah, they have. They have. And it is a blow, but we can replace him. We can replace Peltier. Maybe not necessarily like for like, but we've got enough depth there. I mean, Ollie Rathbone's obviously far more difficult to replace, isn't he? And I don't think you would, but we've got players that can step into the breach like Hakim Adou did yesterday. And to be fair, I mean, just obviously the caveat here with this is the quality of the opposition we played against yesterday. But did we really miss Ollie Rathbone? I don't think we did we? No. Maybe the manager's seen that and thought this is a decent game to rest him, give him a little bit of time. But I understand he's going to see a specialist as well. So hopefully that's going to see the specialist say, can he play rest of the season without causing himself permanent damage, rather than, how long is he out for kind of thing. We'll have to wait and see. But we've got Jamie Lindsay as well, who came on and did what Jamie Lindsay does, or arguably did what Ollie Rathbone does, So whilst it's a blow, it's not a disastrous blow, is it?
No, it's not. No. There's a few people. Sam Henson says, will Hugill be suspended for the next match? No, he has. For America, 6 yellow cards this season, 2 for Norwich, 2 or 3 for Norwich, and obviously a few for us as well. We've gone past the cut-off for 10, so I think he can get up to 15, but that would then be a 3-game ban. I think he certainly wouldn't get. We've certainly gone past the 10. Even if he got 4 more, he still wouldn't get suspension. Thankfully, yeah. There we go. I think he'll be fine. Do you want to, let's talk about Mr. Bond before. Let's give it when Danny and Kev come up to the chance to talk about actual football rather than Mr. Bond. He didn't have a very good game, but we all know whose fault it is, don't we, Mick?
Mine.
It's your fault for booing him in the warm-up.
Yes. He's got the honour of being one of the second referee I've ever booed in his warm-up, and obviously Trevor Kettle was the other one. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the way he's treated us in the past. And he was consistently inconsistent yesterday, weren't he, for both teams? The Hugill yellow card, I'm a bit perplexed by.
Yeah. Again, 2 games in a row for Hugill now.
Yeah, I have no idea why that was given. I've not seen a replay of it. It's not on the highlight reel. I don't understand. But it is what it is. He gave us a penalty. I mean, he had no choice.
No.
I mean, he had absolutely no choice. But yeah, he is bad. He is bad. But let's not get let's not get bogged down in it. We know what to expect, and we got what we expected. So, well, we didn't, to be fair, because we didn't get a red card. But other than that,
J Boy says the QPR player volleying the ball out and still getting the throw. That was probably one of the strangest decisions of the entire season. You can tell it's a bad decision when initially the entire stadium doesn't really react because they just assume the right decision's been made. And then when everybody realised that the QPR player was picking it up, they were like, what is going off? Yeah, a shocker.
Yeah, that was bizarre. That was bizarre. I mean, to be fair to the QPR lad, he brought the ball down fantastically, controlled it well, knocked it onto his other foot, and then volleyed it out for a throw-in. And yet managed to win a throw-in, bizarrely. But anyway, there you go.
Yeah. So to the 2 Wes penalties, Mick, the one he wasn't given, which were a foul by Dieng, I haven't seen it back, but my first reaction was, I can't believe it wasn't a penalty.
Well, I haven't seen it back either, so I'm not going to criticise the referee for it because I can't. You don't know. He's got one look at it, but he was a damn sight closer to it than we were. And when the goalkeeper goes that far out, to try and claim a ball, and there's a coming together one way or another. It's rarely anything other than a penalty. Wes is not the type of player to throw himself onto the deck that I'm aware of. Anyway, I've not seen that. So my first thought was it was a blatant penalty. I'm sure people who were in the North Stand will tell us one way or the other, because they were a lot closer to it than we were. But like I say, it's not been on the highlight reel. It's not been shown anywhere yet. So I've not seen it back. But yeah, it looked like one.
And the Wes one that Wes gave away, I at the time again didn't see it. I was focused on the ball going into the box. He was very quick to give it. Having seen it back, I can understand why he gave it. But I'm not sure I like those given as penalties. As a general rule, it was the ball's gone miles. Both players were off the pitch. It probably is a penalty, but I don't like that. Really, I don't know how to explain it. Really,
my only question would be: it's a foul. Definitely, I'm absolutely convinced it's a foul. The only thing I'm not convinced by is whether it's actually in the field of play.
How does that work? I don't.
Well, that was going to be my question, and Mike might know the answer to this. It appears that it was that the actual contact and the challenge was over the line.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It just appears that way. I've tried to play it back a few times. Clearly, the referee can't see whether it's in or out, and he's going to make the assumption that it's in. If he does, and he thinks it's in the area rather than off the pitch, it's a penalty all day long.
Yeah.
For me. So he probably got that decision right, assuming that they were still in play. I don't know.
Yeah. Fair enough. Anyway, we have Kev with us. How you doing, Kev?
Very good, mate. A bit tired, a bit sweaty.
Yeah.
Struggled.
Did you win? Or just a kick about?
No, we lost tonight. Yeah, but never mind. Can't win them all, mate, can we? I struggled tonight. I think I had too much ale yesterday celebrating.
Kev, just give us your sum up of yesterday. I'll talk about the specifics in a minute, but they're just a very, very good performance, a poor QPR. How did you see it just in general?
I think a very good performance. I didn't think they were too bad, to be fair. I thought first half, we had the better start. There were 20-minute spell in first half, and they were camped in our half. I think they looked all right. That second goal obviously came at a very good time, and then the killer at the end. But I don't think they were too bad. I thought we were cynical. We looked organised. Very good all round. Very good. I think 99% of them fans who came away from, well, obviously home fans, came away yesterday really buoyant and actually believing that we have a real chance of staying up this year.
Yeah, definitely. Mike comes back on the penalty issue. He says two still want penalties. If you bring a player down needlessly, as Harding did, then you pay the price. He says it was a correct decision. No problem about it, as I said. He says the contact was made in play. That's why
then it's a penalty. You can't argue with it. Wes has gone in too late. That's it, isn't it? It is what it is.
Yeah. It's a shame because I thought Wes had a pretty good game. I thought it was back to the old Wes Harding, really. It was, other than that moment, he was really good going forward. He was solid defensively. More of that, please, Wes.
Have you been on Twitter today?
I saw him.
I thought he was great. I thought he was all right. No issues with him whatsoever. He made a mistake with a penalty, no doubt about it. You know, other players made mistakes throughout the game, as they do all the time. Wes is the one that some people seem to want to pick on at the moment.
Yeah.
He's been out of touch, and he appears to be getting back. He's getting his form back. I have no issue with him whatsoever. I genuinely don't understand why people do have. I can't get my head around that. But hey, it's all about opinions in it, football, you know, and we all disagree at times on things, and that's just how it is, isn't it? But yeah, I think he seemed to be all right yesterday. No issues at all, apart from giving the penalty away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if depending on the penalty issue, Kev is going to get him more and more minutes throughout the season. So it was important for someone like Wes. I feel like minutes are important, and I think he just needed to play himself back into a bit because he has been poor. But I thought, I thought he was okay last time he played out, whoever it was, and then yesterday I felt like he was much better again.
Yeah, I think yesterday we saw glimpses of the old Wes Harding who we saw last year and the year before. He looked very composed yesterday, and like makes right. The penalty was just unfortunate. He went in a bit too late. But what Matty Goodwin, who does the iFollow.com, he's been playing football now, and he was full of praise for Wes. And what Mitch referring to on Twitter earlier, I couldn't believe it. I can't believe how many people were calling for Kioso to be starting against Birmingham ahead of Wes Harding after that game. It's unbelievable. Nothing against Kioso. I think he probably, he deserves a running squad if he's fully fit. I'm not sure if he's fully fit, but you can't talk about replacing Wes Harding after that, surely.
I agree completely. I thought Wes were great. I thought defensively we were great, to be honest with you. All of them. But Bailey potentially looks like he maybe done himself a calf injury. I suspect we'll find out in the next few days how serious that is. Hopefully it's not too serious, but we'll have to wait and see on that because that could cause us problems. Back onto a positive, Mick. Tariq Fosu. Again, the old phrase of "don't fall in love with a lone player." Well, that's two of them. That's Yelder and Fosu. He's just great when Fosu's on it. He is just another level. Really, he's so creative. He's so good on the ball. His way he moves in and out of everything is just something else at times. And we've talked about the outball to Chio for the first goal. Fosu was just excellent again.
He is. You're right. He is something else. It's just it's consistency in it. The previous game he was kind of a little bit. The Swansea game he was a bit sort of not really involved like he was against Sunderland, like he was yesterday. It appears to be kind of every other game. That might be. Hopefully he'll prove me wrong. Next Saturday against Birmingham. But when he is on it, God, is he on it? Wow. He is a special player, isn't he? There's no doubt about it. He's everything about him, his vision, his ability on the ball. Probably the only slight criticism you could have of him maybe is that he hangs on to it a little bit too long sometimes, tries to do a little bit too much. But players with that sort of ability who like to, who like to dribble the ball and take players on. Seji used to do it. Seji he'd take a player on, beat him, and then go back and take him on again. And that's and Fosu's a little bit like that. But yeah, he's a hell of a player, and he's far too good for us.
Yeah, he is, Kevin. I think like Mick's right. Consistency is an issue for him, but that's probably why he's playing for Rotherham United and not playing for Brentford in the Premier League. But if you can get some sort of consistency out of him, he's a top-end Championship player on his day, for me.
Absolutely, and moving to us has been a good move for him because it's obviously puts him in. Let's be honest, he's probably not going to play in Premier League, but Brentford is staying up and he's not going to play, so puts him in the shop window. And who knows if we stay up and he's enjoying himself, he might come back for another season. But he's just got quality. Sometimes it's weird because sometimes it looks like he's not got control of the ball and it looks like Bambi on ice, and then all of a sudden it's back on his beat. Man, it's like, wow, where's that come from? He's just quality. He's what we've been missing in middle of park just for that, because obviously when we lost Barlas, even though they're totally different players, he gives us that bit something different. I think.
It's a bit of creativity we missed for a few games. Yeah, definitely. We mentioned on Fergie, Nick Will says thought Ferguson was outstanding as well, made some superb balls forward. Going into that forward, I said to you, Messi yesterday, Rick, I can't believe he's not been playing in that position all his career because he really is really good. He's really clever with his forward runs. He's got a brilliant left foot, as we know. I love Fergie. I really like him.
You can't not, can you? He's another one of these, and this. I suppose this is he's one of the players that harks back to the previous regime, where good human beings and all that. He's another one of those people you can't dislike, and his ability shines through now. Now he's playing further up the field. Now his defensive responsibilities are much less. He's showing he's got that creative side. He could just do with another yard of pace, but I suspect. I'm sorry, Shane, but I think that's gone now. You're reaching an age where that yard of pace is probably not going to arrive. But he's still, because of his experience, he can make up for that and does. So he nearly scored again yesterday, didn't he? So a vicious shot that the keeper did well to keep out. To be honest,
Yeah, he did.
I mean, it was a kind of a routine save, and he should have saved it at his near post, but it took some doing nevertheless. So yeah, I like him. He's brill Fergie.
Yeah. Sam Henson says, so glad he didn't go to Charlton. Yeah.
What a waste
50 grand.
Yeah. I think I remember saying on this podcast, we were all in agreement that it was a good move all around because he wasn't doing very well for everybody. And then this is what he is now. So
yeah, Mick's right. He's such a you could see when he got that goal the other week how much it meant. Even Viktor Johansson ran from his own net to jump on his back. That's how much the players love him. So yeah, fantastic. Love him.
Yeah. Yeah, I contract. It's another one. I contract. So it's interesting to see what happens with him in the summer as well.
Have you just done that little segment there for Tobias to keep him happy? Because he'll be absolutely smug face all over now, won't he?
He will. We all love Fergie, don't we? Chio, Kev, once again, he's moving on again. I thought he was brilliant against Swansea. I thought he had such a great impact yesterday. They played a very high line, which I don't know why you would play high line when you're playing against somebody like Chio and Fosu as well, to be honest with you. But he exploited it. There's games recently he's not necessarily exploited the opportunities they've had. But I thought Chio was back. He is back in it now, really.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, you're bang on. The formation, like Gareth Ainsworth. I mean, robbing a living anyway. But he should have, as a manager, he should have seen that after 10 minutes that they were going to get murdered down right hand side. He did nothing about it all game. So they played into Chio's strengths, and he looked dangerous every time. I think he was a bit fortunate with the cross with first goal. He miscontrolled it, I think, and kind of bobbled away. But he managed to recover it and put in a beauty cross and back to his best. It's good to see. It's one of them where people are still talking. Will he sign? Will he not sign? I think he's putting in his shop window. I think he's doing as much as he can. So, and you can't blame him for that. As long as when he puts that shirt on and gives us all on that pitch, whatever happens afterwards, we don't really care about.
Yeah, 100%. If he goes on to bigger and better, so be it. As long as you've given it everything. Shelley says, Chio beat the first man with the cross. That was an achievement in itself. Harsh, but true. Few comments. Shelley says also, John Hugill was very, very good. Very much like what we'll be needing. Target man, lead the line very well. Hopefully the goal will kick him on. Shelley also says Cardiff, Wigan, and Birmingham are still to play based on what we've seen. We're going to be. There are at least 3 worse clubs than us, which I think is probably right. He says the most confident he's been, which I probably agree with. Let's move on to other positions. Mick, talk about Conor Coventry. I seen somebody earlier on in the comments but say it was a bit of a complaint, but he's growing on me, to be honest with you. I don't think he was outstanding, but I feel like he's closer to Richie Smallwood than he is to Dan Barlasser.
Yeah,
he does so much dirty work, and I feel like yesterday was the first time I properly noticed that dirty work he's doing, and I think he's getting better with the ball as well. To be honest with you, I'm starting to grow. He's starting to grow on me a lot. If
he had Richie Smallwood's aggression, he would be in West Ham's first team. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I do like him, and he is growing on me, and he is growing into the team. He does it, like you say, he does the dirty work, the unseen work, I guess. Providing that link between the back four and midfield and tidying up as well. He just needs to be, for me, a bit stronger in the tackle. I don't know whether
he meshed a couple, didn't he?
Yeah, he seems to do that most games, and I don't know whether he's had an injury that in the past or what, and whether he's a little bit sort of frightened of getting injured again or what. But he does mesh the odd one or two. But he's growing game by game. Definitely, and I think the setup that Matt Taylor's trying to play definitely suits Conor Coventry. So I think there's plenty more to come from him, and I suspect before the end of this season he'll find back at net as well.
Yeah. I think he scored 1 goal, 1 professional goal, so that's a good one.
Well, to be fair, I said that about Richie Smallwood, and he did eventually score a free kick.
He did eventually score. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Sam Hen says Corners Coventry's are coming along, which is difficult to say, Sam.
What? In English, Matt? Just say that again. Corners Coventry's are coming along.
Coventry's corners.
Conor Coventry's corners are coming along. Yeah. But I think it's one of those players, Kev. We see him, he signed the day that Barca left. He took over his shirt. We all just assumed it's a like-for-like replacement. We're picking it back left, right, and centre. Barca's a 2.0. But it's obviously not. Like I said, we mentioned a minute ago, Fosu's probably the more creative player that we've maybe brought in to replace Barca's creativity.
Yeah.
But there's players like Coventry. They're so important. Their dirty work so important to teams at any level.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's half his problem. He's got number 4 on his back, and all the fans see number 4 and think, ping it across, put on a sixpence for him. But he's not that type of player. But I completely agree. I think he's been playing for West Ham. I don't think he's played any games. Obviously, their reserve team football, they're totally different to Championship. He'll have had time on ball, time to look around. Championship, it's someone straight onto it. It's different for him. And I think he's adapting to it. And in 3 or 4 more games, Mick's right, he might get a goal, but he's getting stronger and stronger. And you can see his games coming on. And it's like the Jordan Henderson at Liverpool. They've lost for all the years. That CDM will just picks things up and mops up at the back and then comes forward with it. He's growing on me, same as you. When he first came out, I weren't sure. But he's one of them what needs time. He's getting time. And Matt Taylor seems to. I think there might be maybe there's some clause in there where he's got to play. I'm not sure because there were a couple of games where he could have took him out. But it's working. So carry on, Connor.
Absolutely. Jack McCord says, watched a video earlier of Mark Noble saying he's watching his progress. It's important he gets game time. He's becoming more and more solid each game. Yeah, he absolutely is. Here comes our standard Viktor Johansson appreciation. 5 minutes. Mike the Miller says, was Victor's save his best of the season? Tough to decide, isn't it, as he's performing at such a consistently high level. I spoke to Gab Sutton last week, who was obviously one of the EFL Oracle on Twitter, and he sort of wanted to know a bit more about Victor. And I said, it's difficult to pick a weakness at the minute, to be honest with you, because his shot stopping's amazing. His distribution has improved. He's not making those silly mistakes. You know, against Bolton last season and Wednesday last season, there were sort of bit of mistakes he shouldn't have been making. He is at another level, and that save against which we've mentioned he's up there as one of his best saves he's made for us. Yeah. Such a good player, and he's getting better and better, Mick, which is frightening.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Where's that call? Where's that international call? I mean, I find it very, very difficult to believe, given the sort of ranking that Sweden are at the moment, that they've got a better goalkeeper somewhere. Find that very difficult to believe. He's not lacking in any department at all. And you couple that with, he could have had that armband yesterday for me. I don't care whether he's goalkeeper or what. You need a leader on the pitch, and Victor's turning into a leader as well. So he's got a full house, hasn't he? You know, so that international call has to come. Has to come.
Yeah, well, international break coming up. You never know.
Yeah, well.
Paramed says Victor is the best goalkeeper in the Championship. And Will says, I think we must have put a gun to his head to get him to sign a new contract. But possibly one of the best bits of business at sort of the entire season, Kev, getting him on another couple of year contract, because he is heading places for me.
Absolutely, and Mick's bang on. I can't. I was looking over there last week. I'm looking at the goalkeepers. Apart from Olsen, I'm thinking there's nobody, no names stand out. No, and it must. I know last week at one of our games, Victor, is it Yorkes, whatever you pronounce it, the Coventry striker. Yeah, he was there watching. I think they're good friends. So I don't know if we want to scout mission for national team. I'm not sure, but it's got to be on their radar. They can't. Some of the performances, like the stats, don't lie. Every week is pretty much in the EFL Championship team of the week or team of the season. So it must be. But his all-round game is you just feel safe. We're very lucky because I actually like Vickers. I think he was very lucky not to start the season. So what a position that is to be in with them two.
Yeah, 100%. Mike the Miller, this is a very difficult question to ask, but Mike the Miller says, is Victor becoming one of the best keepers Rotherham's had? Mick, you've seen a few.
He's certainly got the potential to be there. I mean, who would you put above him? I mean, you can go back to the 70s and the likes of Roy Tunks and what have you, but they weren't close to being international level. No. Bobby
Mims.
Say again?
Bobby Mims.
Yeah. Ray Mountford. Other than that, he's probably better than most of them, to be fair, based on the fact of his age for a start. He's only going to get better. Goalkeepers don't peak till they're in their early 30s. The lad's got 10 years to go yet. So I'm sure somebody who's been watching Rotherham as long as me or longer than me will perhaps be able to come up with another name, but I'm struggling at the moment.
You similar, Kev?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and maybe I'm going back to the Gyökeres watching him. Maybe that's a Coventry thing. Maybe there as well for Coventry looking. But I just hope if somebody does come in, like sign a 3-year deal, so we've got a couple of years left, we've got to talk big bucks, like probably our record transfer fee × 5 or ×6 even, because if he were in anybody else's nets, anybody in top half, you're talking 10 million plus. He is that good.
Yeah, completely agree. A couple of you mentioned Matt Clark, who was very good for us, yes, as well. I still fancy Viktor. So let's talk about Ogbene, Mick. Came back in because of Rathbone's injury. Came in and he's just a thorn in the side. He's just a big lump until he gets the ball, and then he's great on the ball. We could talk about his turnaround from where he started the season, but I just love him. I'm loving him more and more. The celebration when he scored. I enjoyed the shush of the QPR fans, which was odd as well.
Yeah,
so there's something in that. But he's essentially a deputy because Rathbone wasn't there. But what a hell of a deputy!
I mean, again, he's another player. I don't understand how anybody can't love him. It just seems like. I mean, when the passion that he showed when he scored was just. I mean, he was just and after the game as well. It meant a lot to him, a hell of a lot to him. But he's got some work to do. He's by no means the finished article, but I think he's one of these players that definitely needs the game time. And as the more he plays, the better he becomes and the more involved he becomes. But he gives you that proper physical presence in that midfield. And when that ball fell to him, I was up already. As soon as it fell to his feet, that was going nowhere else other than the back of the net. For me, in that position, the way that move developed, you wouldn't have wanted anybody else there other than Ogbene because you knew exactly where they were going. Great finish. Good, great finish. Just inside the post, outside reach at keeper with some proper power on it. I like him. I like him a lot. I really do. Yeah. Whether he's a regular, first team regular at the moment, I don't think he's probably at that level, but I think he can be. And he's deceptively quick as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He also gave it when Hugill went off. Kev, he also gave us that extra bit of physicality in that top end of the pitch because he went up for so many headers like a target man, and he's just such a nuisance for the opposition. He's gradually just getting better and better.
Yeah, he's deceivingly strong and tall. You don't look at him. Weirdly, he's one of the players who look smaller on pitch, but he's not. He's very physical. He can get stuck in. And I think half his problem were last season he didn't really get enough. Clearly, what previous manager didn't like him. So, well, not didn't like him, but didn't fancy it. He was getting 10-minute cameos at end and all. He weren't getting enough game time. And obviously, we signed him from Sunday League, so that didn't help because he's had no quality experience. So he's like Coventry for me. I mean, I'd eat my worst because I think 2 months ago I tweeted that he's probably the worst I've ever seen in a Rotherham shirt.
Well,
it's just you know, Kev.
Kev, I'll let you forget that. Don't worry.
I'll not forget it. but he's really, really grown on me, and I think currently he's probably one of the first names on team sheet now because he just gives us so much extra in that middle.
Yeah, I agree. It gives you 2 or 3 different parts of it from the midfield. Yeah, which is brilliant. I think Matt Hill deserves a lot of credit for sticking. I think when he first came in, I think he played him just to sort of find out his squad really because he were there. Which didn't start very well, as we mentioned. He didn't have a great start on Matt Taylor. Matt Taylor's seen something there and stuck with him, and he's reaping his rewards. Both of them, to be fair. Kelly, so he says about Georgia Kelly winning the ball for the 3rd goal. Can't love that man anymore. Talk about these substitutions, Mick. We were 2-1 up. Matt Taylor must have been the only man in the stadium not feeling the nerves, really, because he decided to chuck a couple of strikers on, which turned out to be inspired because Washington and Kelly were key in the goal, and they're just a general nuisance. I really like it because you're not worrying about. You are obviously worried about your defence because you don't want to concede the goals, but you're sort of saying, right, you're having a go at us, that's fine. We'll have a go back, and you're just making them think and not allowing them to keep their momentum. You're sort of taking their momentum away a little bit by making those attacking substitutions.
Yeah, it's the old faint art situation, isn't it? You know, it's just we've conceded. You know, 2-0 is a dangerous score when you concede one. You know, the momentum moves to the other side and everything else, and all he's done is just take that away from him. But I think he said in an interview previously, you know, we're looking to win games. We're not going to be sitting back and trying to survive. And I think that's absolutely right. And that proved to be the winner yesterday by doing that, didn't it? So yeah, I think we commented to each other, or I remember yesterday when he made the substitutions. You know, we've just conceded a goal and he's putting 2 strikers on. What's going on? Not used to it. We're not used to that kind of ambition at our club.
Yeah. Jack McCall says the old manager would never have made those subs. We'd have made every man behind the ball and probably drawn the game. I suppose that's one way to look at it, Kev. But it did work at times with the previous manager. Seeing the games out, you look back to the Burnley game where Matt Taylor did the similar sort of thing, and it cost us. You know, our game management was poor. So it's going to work sometimes. But on Saturday, I think it was the right time against the right team as well. I think he picked the team to do it against. Against Burnley, that might not work.
No. I think he has done it before as well. He did it at, I think he did it twice. He did it at Swansea, done it somewhere else as well. He's not scared of doing it, and I'm all for that. And that last comment's right. I don't think the last manager would have done that. He would have just probably put another goalkeeper on. I don't know, just to try and see a game out. But you know, the teacher at school attacks best form of defence and go for it. And you know, they're the games. QPR at home, Cardiff at home. They're the defining games of our season. So the point is no good. So he's absolutely right doing that, and he's brave. Could have backfired if he'd have brought Kelly Washington on and they'd have scored another goal. And who knows? They'd probably been saying that was stupid. Should have pressed the defender on. But yeah, I like what he's doing.
Yeah, I do. Mike Hill says inspired subs from Taylor. Apparently, Man United are impressed. They might be needing another manager soon. Chris Tether says it stops QPR players pushing up the pitch, pushing up to the halfway line. Then a midfielder has to drop in as well. So yes, tactically, very good. Let's talk about Matt Taylor, Mick, because there was 3 games ago prior to the Sunderland, after the Coventry game, he came in for a lot of criticism, and to be honest, rightly so, because I thought we were very poor on that game. We'd been poor for a couple of games. His record at the time was pretty poor, 4 wins in 20 something or whatever it was. But 7 points from the next 3 games, 2 back-to-back wins at home. It's strange. There's quite a lot of inconsistency. Is that him just learning this level, these players, or what is it? It's strange, isn't it?
Listen, he's got to learn the level. He's got to learn the players. You're absolutely right. He's not been a manager very long either, so he's learning his trade as well. You know, so that's 3 major parts to it before you even start about looking at the intricacies of tactics for each individual team that you're playing and everything else. So I listen. I stand on and say I called him out massively, particularly after that World Cup, after the World Cup break and the poor form that we had then. And I questioned, probably on this podcast, but certainly in my own mind, I'm sure I must have questioned it on here, whether he was up to the job. I think he clearly is, but he still needs some more time to get this team ticking the way he wants them ticking. We're still not playing the way he wants us to play at times. You know, there were periods within that game, the Swansea game and the Sunderland game, where we looked a little bit all at sea. You looked a little bit lost, but you know, it wasn't for the whole game like it was earlier on in the season. So he's definitely improving. And I mean, any calls for him, and you know, if we're going to Birmingham on Saturday and lose or whatever, next time I lose, somebody will be calling for his head, won't they? That just seems to be how our social media works nowadays. But he needs some time. And I think I said it a couple of weeks ago. Even if we did go down, you wouldn't look to get rid of him. I don't think we will now. I don't think that's going to be an issue. But even if you did, as Neil Warnock is showing, as what's his face at Blackpool is showing, as the lad at Everton, Sean Dyche, is showing, these managers, their techniques, their tactics, the way that they play, they're a dying breed. You need to give managers time. And Mike, I know, has made that comment about Man United and Ten Hag and might be looking for another job. No, he won't. No, he won't, because he will be given time, and he will. I'm telling you now, he will win the Premier League with Man United. There's no question about it. But you've got to give him time. And Matt Taylor is another young coach. Needs to be given time. Got the right ideas. He's moving us forward. So, what was the question?
Ages ago now.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Farmer says Matt Taylor took a risk to change things over the World Cup. He sacrificed a few games for the sake of the season, and it's worked. It could have backfired, but it's turned out to be a masterpiece. Yeah, that's one way of looking at it, Kev, I suppose. We were poor, but since the Blackpool game, we've had maybe two games since the turn of the year, really, which have been poor. And that will keep you up. We've seen how inconsistent this league is. Not many teams get 7 points from 3 games on a consistent basis. So that type of form will keep you up easily.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that last comment, I think he's right. And it did, obviously. Maybe we did sacrifice a couple of games to see what he can do, but it's proven. He clearly knows. Obviously, I know Rob Scott does a lot of work in the background sourcing these players, but if Matt Taylor didn't want him, he won't be told he's got to have him. So he's clearly said, "I don't want this, this, and this," and Scott's gone off and they've done the job, and Douglas, and they've all done it. And I think we'll stay up, and I think Matt Taylor, given another transfer window or two, we'll see it get even better. He's clearly got a style of play, like Mick says, totally different to these fossils who are still in the game and getting paid a lot of money. So I'm all for it. I weren't a massive start. We had Jury was out, but he's showing. I think he's now showing his true worth and well worth investing in. And Tony Stewart clearly thinks he is. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done it last window.
Yeah. Johansson said, I don't think Matt Taylor could have carried on playing the old regime. It took some time to settle with his system as paying off, basically. Yeah. So just we all probably know this, but the Huddersfield have now gone on back-to-back 4-0 defeats, I think it is. Blackpool picked a good point at home to Burnley, and Wigan drew at home to Birmingham. They may well have earmarked that one, Mick, to be honest. With the home game against a team like Birmingham were struggling. For Wigan, that may be a missed opportunity, to be honest with that. That's a chance to get back to the closing pack. They're cut adrift, those bottom three now, aren't they?
They are, yeah. And that was a perfect result, Wigan-Birmingham for us. Absolute perfect result. So let's not worry about the others. Ultimately, like we said right at the beginning, before Kev came on, we put ourselves in a position now where it matters not what everybody else does. It only matters now what we do. 9 or 10 points out of 11 games, and that is basically what we're averaging this season, a point a game, roughly, give or take, just over. We just concentrate on ourselves now. 3 more games, 3 more victories will probably keep us up. And we've got 3 winnable games coming up.
We have, yeah. So you don't want me to go through the Tuesday fixtures that affect us then? Is that what you're saying? Because they don't matter. No, it's fine. Kev, how close are we? We're 40 points, 11 games left. Do you think the traditional 50? Do you think it's a bit less than that?
I think it's less. I think it's less than 50. I think last year it was 44 or something that kept them up. I think number 2 and a draw, 3 definitely we're safe. We can get them. The next, I mean, everyone talks on the Europe. Everyone's saying free shot. I said about the Birmingham game at weekend. That it's not a free shot because we're going to go there and try and win, but the next 2 home games are much more important because they're the games what we could and should win, which probably will see us be safe. And I think there's still a few more twists yet. There's still talk of Reading getting deducted points, which could put them really back in, like, if it's 12, they drop into the bottom 3, I think, just. It's 18 to drop well into bottom 3. So a lot more twists to come. But I think personally 7 or 9 points will do us well.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and these games make just finish. The QPR game is a game historically we've struggled with. Those type of teams, those sort of teams that are in a really, really poor run of form, they're going nowhere in the table really. Preston is another team coming up in 10 days' time at home. Those are traditionally we've really struggled against them, against those types of teams. Sunderland again a week ago they were obviously a bit better form, but it's really important to win those games. They're massive for our season. And we didn't trip over ourselves. We took full advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We made them look worse than they actually are, didn't we? To be fair, yesterday on Saturday. So, you're absolutely right. There's nothing else I can say, is there? You know, we're getting into that situation now where we are starting to take advantage of the things that we should be taking advantage of. You know, not going to Burnley and trying to take advantage there. You know, we're doing it in the right place against the right opposition. So 3 games coming up are all winnable. Yeah, they are. We could be sat here in 2 weeks' time. Or is it 3 weeks? Whichever. 2 weeks' time.
2 weeks.
On 49 points. It's not out of the question. You know, if I'd have said that 3 weeks ago, you'd have just laughed at me. And rightly so. So it's picking up and it is improving week on week. So it'd be phenomenal if we could do that. I don't think we will, to be honest, but it'd be phenomenal if we did.
If we come out with 5, 6, or 7 points from those 3 games, we're almost there. For me, that's basically because we're not going to lose the rest of those games. I know that's a tough run in April. We're not going to lose them all, are we? We're going to pick up some points along the way. Anything else?
Huddersfield's runnings are the next. I think they play 6 games in March as well. 5. They'll have 4 left. They played 5, so they've got 4 left as opposed to our 3, and they are tough games. I can't see Huddersfield picking. Well, they might pick odd points up here and there, but they've got a tough thingy. They're deep in the doodah.
Yeah, they host Bristol City on Tuesday. Bristol City have just lost in a big derby, so they'll want to get back on the ball. So on the day, they're a good team. Reading host Sheffield United.
Gash team and all, aren't they?
Bristol City, oh God, yeah. Reading host Sheffield United, which could be relevant to us, depending on the Reading's point deduction, which is massive for Sheffield United. And Wigan go to West Brom, which is an incredibly tough game as well. So, but like I said, it's in our own hands, isn't it? It really is in our own hands.
Might be very weird at the end of the season. How nice would it be to go to Wigan away, knowing we're safe?
I can't imagine it. I can't get my head around that would be a thing.
When was the last time we had a meaningless league game? It must be years.
There were some of our fans who've not experienced that, because there is literally every year we've got either it's relegation or promotion.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Is there anything else you want to do? I want to mention, or shall we just go and enjoy the rest of the 3-point weekend?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think so.
Perfect. Right. If you haven't already, please subscribe on YouTube, because we're creeping up gradually. So thank you all for who haven't done already, but please subscribe if you haven't. If you are audio listening, please make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and give us a 5-star rating. We will be back on Thursday evening to preview the game at St Andrews, on Friday morning for the audio podcast, if you are on there as well. Kev, thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for joining us, mate.
Pleasure.
And Mick, Kev. Thank you. No rants tonight. It's been a pleasure.
I'm trying to moderate my referee criticism. So sooner or later, I'm going to bump into Howard Webb again, and he'll punch me if I'm not careful.
Fair enough. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you all next time. Up the Millers.
Cheers.
See you later.
Ravel, vicious, brilliant. Hugill with it. Wood's got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it again. The magic man has come up with another trick. Well, here's a chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie.